The gift of the Magi. All over the world, sick, weak, and devitalized men and women are searching for health and strength. By the hundreds of thousands, they drag their weary and aching bones around, or languish on sick beds, waiting for someone to bring health to them, corked up in a bottle. But real, lasting health has never been found in pill boxes or medicine bottles. There is one method, and only one, by which it can be gained and kept. That method is by using the power of the subconscious mind. For a long time, the doctors pooh-poohed any such idea. Then, as the evidence piled up, they grudgingly admitted that nervous troubles and even functional disorders might be cured by mind. Yet, as Warren Hilton has it in Applied Psychology, all the literature of medicine, whether of ancient or modern times, abounds in illustrations of the power of the mind over the body in health and in disease, and medical science has always based much of its practice on this principle. Everyone admits that the mind influences the body, for everyone has seen others grow pale with fear or red with anger. Everyone has felt the stopping of the heartbeats at some sudden fright, the quickened breathing and the thumping of the heart caused by excitement. These and 100 other evidences of the influence of mind over matter are common to us all, and everyone will admit to them. But everyone does not know that our whole bodies seem to be nothing more or less than the outward expression of our thought. We sit in a draft, and education teaches us we should have a cold or fever. So, we have a cold or fever. We eat something which we have been told is indigestible, and immediately we are assailed with pains. We see another yawn, and our impulse is to follow suit. In the same way, when we hear of sickness round about us, the fear of it visualizes it in our own minds, and we too have it. The fear of these things seem to bring them about. We have been educated in a medical age to think that most diseases are infectious or contagious, so the mere sight of a diseased person makes most of us withdraw into ourselves like a turtle within his shell. We fear we shall catch it, when one of that great dangers of disease is that very fear of it. For years it has been accepted as an acknowledged fact that anyone trapped in a mine or other airtight compartment would presently die of carbon dioxide poisoning, lack of oxygen. Now comes Houdini to prove that death for lack of oxygen is not necessary at all. Fear and not poisoning by carbon dioxide causes the death of miners and others trapped in airtight compartments, in the opinion of Houdini, according to an Associated Press dispatch of August 6, 1926. Houdini had himself sunk in a sealed coffin in a swimming pool, without chance for a breath of outside air to reach him, and stayed there for an hour and a half. Although, according to all previous scientific belief, he should have been dead at the end of 4 minutes. Yet, Dr. W.J. McConnell of the United States Department of Mines, who examined Houdini before and after the experiment, reported no marked physical reactions from the test, and Houdini himself said he felt only a slight dizziness when he was released from the coffin. Anyone can do it, said Houdini. The important thing is to believe that you are safe. The Chinese have a saying that when the plague comes, 5,000 people may die of the plague, but 50,000 will die of the fear of it. I have before me a clipping from the New York Times of March the 29th, 1925, telling of a cripple who had been paralysed for 6 years, but under the spur of sudden fear, he ran up a stairway unaided, without a crutch or cane. He had been treated in a number of hospitals, but because of an injury to his spine received in an auto accident, had been unable to walk without crutches or canes for 6 years. The patient in the bed next to his own suddenly went crazy and attacked him, and in his fear, this paralytic leaped from his bed and ran up a flight of stairs. According to the report, the sudden fright cured him. Take the miracles of Lourdes, or of St. Anne of Beaupré, or of any of the dozens of shrines that dot the world. What is it that affects the cures? 2 things, desire and faith. What wouldest thou that I should do unto thee? The Saviour asked the blind man, who kept following and crying out to him, Lord, that I should receive my sight. And again of the cripple at the pool of Bethesda, Jesus asked, Wouldest thou be made whole? Sounds like foolish questioning, doesn't it? But you remember the story of the famous saint of Italy, who travelled from town to town, healing the lame, the halt and the blind. A pilgrim hastening to a town where the saint was expected, met 2 lame beggars hurrying away. He asked them the reason for their haste. To be told, to his astonishment, it was because the saint was coming to town. As they put it, he will surely heal us, and where will our livelihood be then? So it is with many people today, not beggars, mind you, but people in every walk of life. They have become so wedded to their ailments, they enjoy poor health so thoroughly that they are secretly a bit proud of it. Take away their complaints, and they would be most lost without them. You must have the sincere desire first. That is prayer. Then the faith, the kind of faith that Jesus meant when he said, Whosoever ye ask for when ye pray, believe that ye receive it, and ye shall have it. Mind you, not believe ye are going to receive it, but believe that ye receive it. Now, this very minute, know that the real you, the image of you held in universal mind, in short, the truth concerning every organ in your body, is perfect. Know the truth. Believe that you have this perfect image. On the day that you can truly believe this, carry this sincere conviction to your subconscious mind. On that day, you will be perfect. This is the faith that Jesus meant when he said, Thy faith hath made thee whole. This is the faith that is responsible for the miracles of Lourdes, for the miraculous healings everywhere. It matters not whether you be Catholic or Protestant, Jew or Gentile. Desire and faith such as these will heal you. A month or 2 ago, I read in the newspaper of a farmer, blind for 2 years, who went out in the field and prayed that he should receive his sight. At the end of the 2nd day, his sight was completely restored. He was a Protestant. He went to no shrine, just out under the sky and prayed to God. Today, I have before me a clipping from the New York Sun of February the 23rd, 1926, telling of patrolman Dennis O'Brien of the Jersey City Police Force, who recovered the use of his legs, which had been paralyzed since the time 2 years before when a bullet had entered the base of his spine, severing the cord of motor and sensory nerves. He was a Catholic. Then, here is one from the New York Sun of June the 26th, 1926, telling how Miss Elsie Mayer of the Bronx, New York, was healed overnight of a tumorous growth that had troubled her for months. I realized last fall that there was an unusual growth on my body, she said. It might have resulted from the strain of lifting a trunk. I wanted to know what it was, and I first went to a doctor who informed me it was a tumorous growth and likely to become serious. But I would not be frightened and refused to receive any medical remedies in the way of a cure. I have been a believer in faith healing and a member of the Unity Society, a branch of the New Thought organization, for a number of years, so I went to a New Thought practitioner. While this seemed to help me, the tumorous growth remained. I guess my faith wasn't strong enough at the time. That was last fall. I came to the Congress with the same growth, apparently unaffected by any attempts to cure it. But after attending the healing meeting at the Congress yesterday, I left with firm faith that I would get the healing I had asked for. When I retired, I noticed the tumour was still on my body, but when I awoke this morning, it had disappeared. The chronicles of every religion are full of just such miracles, and the reason for them is the same in every case: prayer and faith. Given these, no healing is impossible. It would seem safe to assume that man is not going backward now, that he is a more perfect creature than he was 5,000, 10,000, or 100,000 years ago, and that he is constantly drawing nearer and nearer to the likeness of his Creator. After the 3rd century of the Christian era, that power was allowed to lapse through disuse, but of late years thousands have been taking advantage of it for themselves and for others through psychology or religion. A new church has been founded upon the words of James: faith without works is dead. It differs from most churches in that it teaches that Jesus meant all that he said when he commanded his disciples to go preach, saying, "The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely give." The sick, the lame, the halt, and the blind have flocked to it literally by the 100,000s. And the basis of all these cures is that there is nothing miraculous about the cure of disease at all, that it is divinely natural, that it requires merely understanding, that mind is the only creator, and that the only image universal mind holds of your body is a perfect image, neither young nor old, but full of health, of vigour, of beauty and vitality. That all you have to do when assailed by disease is to go back to universal mind for a new conception of its perfect image, for the truth concerning your body, just as you would go back to the principle of mathematics for the truth concerning any problem that worked out incorrectly. When you can make your subconscious mind copy after this universal image the truth, instead of the diseased image you are holding in your thoughts, your sickness will vanish like the mere dream it was. Does that sound too deep? Then look at it this way. When you think an organ is diseased, it is your conscious mind that thinks this. Inevitably, it sends this thought through to your subconscious mind, and the latter proceeds to build the cells of that organ along this imperfect, diseased model. Change the model, in other words, change your belief, and your subconscious mind will go back again to building along right lines. To quote the New York Sun, man's body is made up of trillions of miniature solar systems, each with whirling planets and a central sun. These tiny systems are the atoms of modern science. The atoms of all elements are made up of protons and electrons in varying quantities and arranged in various ways. But what are protons and electrons? Dr. Gale of the University of Chicago, addressing the Ohio Academy of Science, said there was good reason to believe that electrons were composed entirely of electricity and that their mass or weight was only a manifestation of electrical force. According to this view, nothing exists in the universe except electricity and perhaps ether. Your subconscious mind partakes of the creative power of mind, and because of that, it is daily, hourly changing the particles of electrical energy which constitutes your body to conform to the image you hold before it. The clay cannot reply to the sculpture. No more can these tiny particles of electricity. Your body has nothing to say as to whether it shall be diseased or crippled. It is mind that decides this. Jesus understood this, and it was on the basis of this understanding that he was able to cure any and all manner of disease. He was not a magician or occult wonder worker aiming to set aside the laws of nature. He was a teacher demonstrating those laws. He didn't pick the learned scribes and Pharisees and let them in on the secret of this wonder working. On the contrary, the men he chose were simple fisher folk, and to them he gave the understanding that enabled them too to cure the sick, the halt, and the blind. For what is sickness? An illusion, a mortal dream, merely the absence of health. Bring back that health image, and the sickness immediately disappears. Universal mind never created disease. The only image it knows of man is the truth, the perfect image. The only idea it has of your body is a perfect, healthy idea, for God is of purer eyes than to behold evil. Then where does disease come from? Who created it? No one did. It is a mere illusion, just as if you think a pin is sticking you and you concentrate your thought on the pain, it becomes unbearable. Yet when you investigate, you find that no pin was sticking you at all, merely a hair lodged against the skin. How often have you had some fancied pain only to have it promptly disappear when your physician assured you there was nothing wrong with you at all? It would be the same way with all sickness, all pain, if you would understand that it is merely fear or suggestion working on your conscious mind, and that if you will deny this belief of pain or sickness, your subconscious mind will speedily make that denial good. Don't render that mind impotent by thoughts of fear, doubt, and anxiety. If you do, it is going to get like a working crew, which is constantly being stopped by strikes or walkouts or changes of plans. It will presently get discouraged and stop trying. Our unconscious is a tremendous storage plant full of potential energy, which can be expended for beneficial or harmful ends. Like every apparatus for storing up power, it can be man's most precious ally if man is familiar with it and hence not afraid of it. Ignorance and fear, on the other hand, can transform a live electric wire into an engine of destruction and death. Mind is all. There is no other cause. When you drive the belief in disease from your subconscious mind, you will drive away the pain and all the other symptoms with it. Few sick people have any idea how much they can do for themselves. There is an old saying that every man is a fool or his own physician at 40. When the science of mind is more generally understood, that saying will become literally true. Every man will find within himself the mind which healeth all thy diseases. For every function of your body is governed by your mind. When sickness or pain assails you, deny it. Cling steadfastly to the one idea that covers all, that universal mind made your every organ perfect, that the only image of every organ now in universal mind is this perfect image, and that this perfect idea is endowed with resources sufficient to meet any need. Jesus commanded, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect," was meant to be taken literally, and it can be followed literally if we will model our bodies upon the image He holds of us in universal mind. We are all sculptures, but instead of marble or clay, our material is the plastic energy, protons and electrons, of which we and everything in this world about us are made. What are you making of it? What image are you holding in mind? Images of sickness, of poverty, of limitation. Then you are reproducing these in your life. Banish them, forget them. Never let them enter your thought, and they will never again manifest themselves in your life. You admit that mind influences your body to some extent, but you think your physical organs hold the preponderance of power, so you depend upon them and you make yourself their slave. Know ye not, says Paul, that to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom ye obey. Romans chapter 6, verse 16. By holding before yourself the thought that your organs are the masters, you make them your master, and deprive yourself of the directing intelligence of your subconscious mind. When an organ ceases to function properly, you try to doctor it, when the part that needs attention is your mind. If you are running an electric machine and the current becomes weak or is switched off, you don't take the machine apart or oil it or tamper with it to make it run better. You go to the source to find what is wrong. In the same way, when anything seems wrong with the functioning of your body, the place to investigate is your subconscious mind. Your stomach has no intelligence, nor your heart, nor your liver, nor any other of your organs. Your liver, for instance, could never figure out how much sugar should be turned into your blood every minute to keep your bodily temperature at 98 degrees when you are sitting in a room that is warmed to only 65 degrees. It doesn't know how much more sugar is required to keep that temperature normal when you go out into a driving gale 10 degrees below zero. Yet it supplies the requisite amount, neither too much nor too little, and it does it instantaneously. Where does it get the information? You don't know it. No mortal man could figure it out in a year's time. It gets it from your subconscious mind. It gets both the information and the direction to use it, and every other of your bodily organs gets its information in the same place. Your muscles are not self-acting. Take away mind and those muscles are just like any other bit of matter, lifeless and inert. They have nothing to say as to what they shall do. They merely obey the behests of mind. Have you ever seen one of those great presses at work in a newspaper plant? They seem almost human in their intelligence. At one end, great rolls of paper feed in. At the other, out comes the finished paper, folded, ready for delivery. Everything is automatic. Everything as perfect as machinery can be made. The fingers that fold the papers seem almost lifelike in their deftness. But shut off the life-giving electric current, and what happens? The machinery is powerless. Take away the directing human intelligence, and how long before that wonderful machine would be a mass of scrap, mere bits of steel and rubber? How long could it function of itself? So it is with your body, a wonderful mechanism, the most complicated, yet the most perfect in the world. But switch off the current of your mental dynamo. Take away the intelligence that directs the working of your every organ, and what is left? A bit of bone and flesh, inert and useless. In the final analysis, your body is merely a piece of mechanism, dependent entirely upon mind. It has no power, no volition of its own. It does as mind tells it to, insofar as mind believes itself to be the master. Your eyes, for instance, are merely lenses which transmit light from the outer world to the brain within. They contract or elongate, they open or close, just as mind directs, and mind, in its turn, keeps them constantly nourished with new life-giving blood, replacing old tissue, old cells, as fast as they wear out, rebuilding ever so that your eyes may continue to function perfectly as long as your conscious mind is dependent upon them for its impressions of outer objects. It doesn't matter how old you may be or how much you use them. Your eyes are like any other muscles of your body. They improve in strength with use. Give them but enough rest intervals for mind to repair and rebuild the used tissue. Keep before your subconscious mind the perfect image of your eyes on which you expect it to rebuild, and you need never fear glasses. You need never worry about your eyes going back on you. What is it when your muscles refuse to work, fail to perform their functions properly? You are what has happened. You have switched off the current from some particular part. You have been holding the belief so long and so firmly that the muscles have the preponderance of power that your subconscious mind has come to believe it too. And when the nerve or muscle suffers an injury, the subconscious mind, at the suggestion of your conscious mind, gives up all dominion over it. All disease, all sickness, all imperfections of the human body are due to this one cause: your belief that your body is the master, that it can catch cold or become diseased without the consent of mind. This is the procuring cause of all suffering. One disease is no different from another in this. They are all due to that one erroneous belief. If you will deny the power of your body over your mind, you can destroy all fear of disease. And when the fear goes, the foundation of the disease is gone. The way to begin is to refuse to believe or to heed any complaint from your body. Have no fear of climate or atmosphere, of dampness or draughts. It is only when you believe them and healthy that they are so to you. When your stomach sends a report of distress, when it tells you that something you have eaten is disagreeing with it, treat it as you would an unruly servant. Remind it that it is not the judge of what is or is not good for it, that it has no intelligence, that it is merely a channel through which the food you give it passes for certain treatment and selection, that if the food is not good, it has to pass it through to the elementary organs as speedily as may be. What is it that people go to any church for? To pray and to find out how to get an answer to their prayers. Show them the way to do this. Show them the way to heal themselves of all their ills and lacks, and you will need to worry no more about the crowded theatres and the empty churches. The moment any symptom of illness shows up in your body, vigorously deny its existence. Say to yourself, my body has no intelligence, neither has any germ of disease. Therefore, neither my body nor the disease can tell me I am sick. Mind is the only cause, and mind has not directed them to make me sick. The only image of my body that mind knows is a perfect, vigorous, healthy image, and that it is the only image I am going to build on. Then forget the image of disease. It is only an illusion and can be dispelled like any other illusion. Keep in your mind's eye the image of perfect health, of vigorous, boundless vitality. Your body cannot say it is sick. Therefore, when the belief of sickness assails you, it must come from either from your conscious mind or from outside suggestion. In either event, it is your job to see that no belief of sickness reaches your subconscious mind, that no fear of it, no thought of it is imaged there. To treat one who has already succumbed to the belief of sickness, explain to him, as I have explained to you here, that his body has no power for sickness or for health, that his body is merely an aggregation of millions of electrons, particles of electrical energy, really subject wholly to his mind, that these particles of energy have neither substance nor intelligence, that they are constantly changing, and that the forms they take depend entirely upon the images he holds in his own mind. His body is, in short, a mental concept. It is an exact reflection of the thought he is holding in mind of it. If he has been sick, it is because he has been holding sickly, weak, and unhealthy thoughts in his mind. If he wishes to get well, it is first necessary for him to change his thought. Instead of doctoring the machine, he is to go direct to the powerhouse and change the current. Let him repeat to himself, night and morning, this little formula. There is no permanence to matter. The only surest thing about it is change. Every cell, every tissue in my body is constantly being renewed. The old, worn-out tissues are being torn down and carried away. New, perfect ones are replacing them, and the model on which those new organisms are being rebuilt is the perfect model that is held in divine mind. For God made man in his image. That image was perfect then and is perfect now. It is the only image that divine mind knows of me. It is the only image on which my subconscious mind is ever again going to pattern its rebuilding. Every minute of every day, I am growing more and more into the image of God, the true likeness he holds of me in his thought. If he will bear in mind that matter as such has no feeling, no intelligence, that it is the mind that feels, the mind that directs, and therefore he has nothing to fear from any external causes, his fear of the disease will vanish. Verily, verily, I say unto you, said Jesus, if a man keep my saying, he shall never see death. And again, this is the life eternal. Is, you will notice, not shall be. The subconscious mind is God's way of utilizing his energy, says the Reverend William T. Walsh in his book, Scientific Spiritual Healing. God evolved the subconscious mind. It is his gift to us, like all else that we possess, and because it is from him, we should give thanks and learn to use it intelligently. God has so fashioned us that we do not have to give conscious attention to the vital processes. He has given us what is called the subconscious mind, which looks after all the vital functions. This mind can receive commands from us and has wonderful abilities to carry them out, for it is a law that every thought tends to realize itself subconsciously in the body. If you allow evil thoughts to remain, they are received by the subconscious, which tends to realize them in the body just as much as though they were good, wholesome, health-giving spiritual thoughts. For remember, the subconscious does not reason and judge. It only receives and obeys. When you have an accident, don't immediately think that you must be hurt. On the contrary, deny at once that you can be hurt. The denial will take away the creative power of your thought from any damaging condition. More than that, if you will immediately call to mind the fact that the only image of your body that universal mind holds is a perfect image, and that this is the image on which your subconscious mind is building, you will find that this subconscious mind will speedily rebuild any damaged parts in accordance with that image. But even with our present imperfect understanding, we can perform what the initiated would call miracles with our bodies, and each victory we win gives us a bit more of power over them. To conquer one diseased condition makes it easier to ward off or to conquer other diseased conditions. The body cannot oppose us. It is only the bias of education and the suggestions of those about us that we have to combat. There is no necessity for disease. There is no necessity even for fatigue. They that wait upon the Lord shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Those words from the Holy Writ were meant literally, and they can be applied literally if you will govern your body by mind, and not let custom and popular belief make your body the master. Whatever it is right for you to do, you can do without fear, no matter if it entails long continued toil, hardship or danger. Depend upon it, your mind can call to your aid all the forces of nature if they are necessary to your emergency. Therefore I say unto you, quotes the Master, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. I remember reading an article by Mrs. Vance Cheney, telling how she cured herself of paralysis of the legs in just that way. After lying for months under the care of doctors and masseurs, she tired of them and decided to depend entirely upon mind. So several times a day, she would utterly relax in every nerve and muscle, and then consciously send her thought down along the nerves of her legs to her feet. There would be that little tingling sensation in her feet, evidence of increased circulation, followed after a time by feeling of drowsiness. A few weeks of these treatments restored the use of her legs. The same effort can be made to throw off any physical trouble. Put your hand upon the part affected. Try to visualize that organ as it should be. See it functioning perfectly. Believe that it is working normally again. Your thought brings the blood to the affected part and clears up the trouble and provides new cells, new tissue, while your belief that the organ is functioning properly will bring about that normal condition. This is a treatment, however, that must be used with discretion, for to consciously interfere in the regular functioning of the body without any real need for such interference results in confusion rather than help. It is like going down a flight of stairs rapidly. Pay no attention to the movement of your feet, and they flit over the steps with never a sign of hesitancy or faltering. But try to watch them step by step, and you will either have to slow up, or you will presently miss a step, stumble, and fall. There is one rule that will help anyone keep healthy. That rule is to forget your nerves, throw away your pills and your medicine bottles, and hold before your mind's eye only the perfect image that universal mind has of your body. That is the surest way to keep free from sickness. And if you are already sick, the same rule applies. Know that universal mind never created disease, which it is but an illusion of your conscious mind. Know that your mind is the only creator, that as Shakespeare puts it, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Know that you have the say as to what that thinking shall be. Know therefore that by holding a perfect image of your body in your thoughts, you can make your body perfect. Your subconscious mind is exceedingly amenable to suggestion. Worry about sickness or contagion, and hold before it the thought that you are getting old, or that some organ is becoming feeble, and it will be perfectly agreeable to bringing about the condition you suggest. Convince it that there is no danger from contagion. Hold before it the thought of health and strength, and it will be just as prompt in manifesting them. It matters not what your ailment may be. It will respond to that treatment. Suppose, as an example, that your stomach has been troubling you, that you cannot eat what you would like, and that you cannot assimilate your food, that you are weak and nervous. Every morning when you awake, and every night just before you drop off to sleep, say to yourself, "My stomach has neither intelligence nor feeling. It functions only as mind directs it. Therefore, I need have no worry about it being weak or diseased, for the only image that mind knows of stomach is its perfect image, and that perfect image can assimilate or remove anything I may put into it. It is perfect as everything that universal mind makes is perfect, and being perfect, it can do anything right I may ask of it without fear or anxiety." Concentrate on that one organ at a time and repeat this formula to yourself night and morning. Say it, feel it, believe it, and you can do what you please with that organ. As thy faith is, so be it done unto thee. Suffer little children to come unto me. I can believe all you say about my fears and worries being responsible for my own illnesses, write many people. But how about infants and little children? They have no fear. Why do they sicken and die? What many people do not understand is that the subconscious mind is just as amenable to suggestion from those around about you as it is from your own conscious mind. Otherwise, you would be in no danger from anything you did not consciously know of. And the more ignorant you were, the safer you would be. Take, for instance, contagion, with the hundreds of diseases which most people scarcely know the names of, but to which they are constantly falling victims. They don't know they have been exposed to contagion. They don't know that their systems are in such condition that certain diseases logically follow. But their subconscious minds do know it, and they have so thoroughly educated those minds to believe in the necessity for ill health in the inevitability of sickness under certain conditions that the subconscious proceeds to work out the contagion or the condition to its logical conclusion. Grown people can change these subconscious convictions by the proper counter-suggestions consciously given, but young children cannot reason. They accept the belief that they are held by the generality of mankind, or that are strongly suggested to them by those nearest to them. That is why babies and young children fall such easy victims to the fears of disease and contagion of their parents and those about them. That is why worry over a seeming epidemic so often results in the children catching it, even when they have apparently been in no way exposed to the contagion. Man, says a famous writer, often has fear stamped upon him before his entrance into the outer world. He is reared in fear. All his life is passed in bondage of fear of disease and death, and thus his whole mentality becomes cramped, limited and depressed, and his body follows its shrunken pattern and specification. But the remedy is just as simple. Know that your children are primarily children of God, that the image He holds of them is perfect. His perfect image has within itself every power necessary to ward off disease of any kind. Put your children actively under His care. Throw the responsibility upon Him. Depend upon it. When you do this in the right way, no harm can come near them. Whenever fear assails you, whenever your children are exposed to danger or contagion, realize that He shall give His angels, open brackets, His thoughts, close brackets, charge over them, to lead them in all their ways. If your children are sick or ailing, read these thoughts aloud to them, just as though you were talking to a grown person. Only address yourself to their subconscious mind. Read over the past few pages. Repeat to them the little formula outlined above, adapting it to their own particular need. Above all, believe it. Your faith will work just as great wonders for your children as for yourself. Never doubt, never fear. Go at your problem just as you would approach a difficult problem in mathematics. L'envoi. The kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hid in a field, the which, when a man hath found, he hiddeth, and for joy thereof goeth, and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. This field is your own consciousness, a treasure you find within yourself, which others cannot see, but you know it for the indwelling Spirit, the Father within you, and are willing to sell all that you have, because this treasure is worth more than all other possessions. If you have begun to realize this treasure and use it, even in a small way, the most wonderful thing that can happen to anyone on this planet has happened to you. What does it mean? It means that an ordinary human being, afflicted with all the sufferings and fears and worries and superstitions of the average man, has learned the law of being. It means that he has acquired a power, above all that of his would-be destroyers. It means that he has put his foot upon the rock of life, that the doorway of heaven is open before him, that all of good is as free to him as the air he breathes. There hath not failed one word of all his good promises, and we declare unto you glad tidings, how that the promise which was made unto the fathers, God hath fulfilled the same unto us. Surely we have every reason to be grateful for all the good around about us. Surely we should be thankful for the infinite power that has been given to us. And being truly grateful, by the way, is the surest evidence of real faith that there is. Faith, you know, is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Remember when Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, how he first prayed and then thanked the Father for answering his prayer. There was not yet any material evidence that the prayer had been answered, but Jesus had perfect faith in the Father, and it was justified. Immediately he had given thanks, Lazarus came forth from the tomb. The world today is so much more wonderful than it was to former generations. Mankind has begun to glimpse its illimitable powers. The whole world is plastic and sensitive to new ideas. The soul of man is finding itself and learning its relation to the infinite. The veil between the visible and the invisible is being drawn aside. Through seeing the Father do the works, we are becoming more assured of our own power, beginning to assert the Father that is within us. We know that, given the right understanding, the works that Jesus did, we can do also. We recognize his miracles as divinely natural laws, part of God's continuous plan. So let us go with him under the Mount of Vision, taking as our motto his words, "See that thou make all things according to the pattern showed thee in the Mount." Thank you for listening, and end of this book. I hope you enjoyed it.